At the beginning of the 2010s, the McLaren team fielded two British drivers, Lewis Hamilton and Jenson Button, who both came to blows occasionally, but they were always pushing each other to try and win the championship. Hamilton idolised Senna growing up, a driver who raced with passion and commitment. Lewis had seen him as a massive motivation for his whole career. Button, meanwhile, supported Alain Prost, a driver who would be nicknamed the Professor after his thought-out approach to racing. Both Hamilton and Button mirrored their idols' driving styles, and a little over 20 years prior, history was mirrored with a rivalry between Senna and Prost, the best rivalry in F1 history. Prost was born in France in 1955 and was interested in sports throughout his childhood until he found karting at the age of 14 whilst on holiday. He then began competing and won many titles, moving up the ranks of the motorsport ladder until in 1980 he managed to get into F1 and began racing with McLaren. After a 15th place finish in the championship that year, he decided to move to Renault after he fell out with McLaren. At Renault, he'll get his first podium finish in just 3 races before winning at the French Grand Prix and then at Zandvoort as well as Monza in that same season. 1982 would be much of the same before finishing runner-up in 1983 by 2 points to Nelson Piquet. 1984 would see him move back to McLaren and with partner Niki Lauda, who would beat him to the title by half a point. The next year, Prost would win his first title by 20 points from Michele Alboreto, and the next year he would do the same, this time by 2 points ahead of Nigel Mansell, who would suffer a puncture in the final race which would end his championship hopes. 1987 would see Prost finish in 4th, 27 points behind Piquet, and 11 points behind his rival in the coming seasons, Ayrton Senna. Senna was born into a wealthy family in Brazil in 1960 and by the age of 7 knew how to drive a car without a clutch. At 13, he began karting and would win multiple world championships in karting before moving to England to compete in Formula 4 2000, before winning the championship and the British Formula 3 championship the year after, and this would secure him a seat with Toleman for 1984. In his first season, Senna almost won at Monaco and finished on the podium 3 times. This meant for 1985 he would move to Lotus and win his first race in Portugal, then follow right up with a second in Belgium. He'll get 4 more podiums that year to finish 4th and would do the same in 1986 but with 1 more podium. In 1987 he would win 2 races for the 3rd year in a row and finish on the podium in all but 3 races that he finished, to be 3rd in the championship come the end of the year, and these seasons of consistency would see him make a move to McLaren for 1988. The McLaren MP44 is famous in F1 for winning all but 1 race in the 1998 season and would bring the first battle between Prost and Senna. The season would start in Brazil where Senna would have his car break down before the start of the race, where he went into the pits to get the spare car, which they had at the time, and then this meant that Senna had to start from the back. He went from last to second by lap 20, but the FIA weren't too happy with Senna jumping into the spare car, so he was disqualified. Because the McLaren was a rocket ship that year, Prost won by 9 seconds from Berger and over a minute from 3rd place Piquet. After this, Senna would win in San Marino but retire in Monaco after crashing from the lead, but after this point he would not finish off the podium until Monza where he was crashed into by Schlesser, but Prost couldn't take advantage of this, so Ferrari won the race and broke McLaren's winning streak. Up until this point, Senna had won 7 races and Prost won 4 times, but with 3 non-finishes for Senna and 2 for Prost. Senna led the championship by 3 points going into the last 4 races. Senna would finish 6th and 4th at Portugal and Spain, with Prost winning both, but Senna won in Japan and finished 2nd in Adelaide. Prost meanwhile won in Portugal, Spain and Australia, but due to the rules of drop points, only 11 races were counted, so Prost has a total of 105 points, but finished the season with 87 points. Meanwhile, Senna finished the season with 94 points, dropped to 90 and won the 1988 championship. There are rumours that Honda, who was the engine supplier from McLaren, was favouring Senna, and Prost believed this. He spoke to Honda and the head of R&D said this was true, and it made sense considering that Honda worked with Senna at Lotus the year prior. Prost wanted this to change and spoke to McLaren. This meant that heading into 1989, Prost already had suspicions and already had doubts with the team. 1989 will begin with Mansell, who was racing Ferrari, winning in Brazil, but after that Senna won 3 in a row, which included Imola. There was an agreement within the team, whoever led into the first corner would win the race and the second place driver would just stay behind. Into turn 1, Senna would lose the lead from Prost, and after a red flag, which was caused by Gerhard Berger spinning off at Tamburello, which caused the car to catch fire, which was actually a precursor to Grosjean's crash in Bahrain once you think about it, it meant that there was a red flag and then the restart. At the restart, Senna would get the jump, which annoyed Prost as he thought it was against the agreement, and a quote that Gilles Villeneuve made at the same track in similar circumstances just 7 years prior to Prost himself: "Absolutely, I've declared war." Senna had a 7-point advantage over Prost after Mexico, and then Prost would win in Phoenix, and then neither driver would finish in Canada. Prost would then win back-to-back in France and Britain before Senna won in Germany. Neither McLaren driver would win in Belgium, but in Italy, Prost won. At the home of the Tifosi, he announced that he would join Ferrari for 1990. At the next race, Prost would finish second, while Senna did not finish, as he had done at Monza. This meant that heading into the final 3 races, Senna was 24 points behind Prost with 27 up to grabs and would have to win all 3 races to try and keep himself in the championship fight. He won in Spain, and heading into Japan, it would be critical for him to finish. Senna would get pole, but off the line Prost would get a jump and take the lead from Senna and would pull away by 6 seconds. Then both drivers pitted and Senna began to pull Prost in. By that 40, Senna was just behind Prost and was trying to get a move done, but he was not close enough. Prost was quicker in a straight line, while Senna was quicker in the corners, so he could never get a move done down the straight. But in lap 47, Senna got a great run out of spoon curve and reeled in Prost heading through 130R and dived down the inside from quite far back. Senna was about to get the move done, but Prost turned in and both of them crashed. Prost was out while Senna had a damaged front wing. The marshals pushed Senna into a safe space where he rejoined the circuit before pitting to change his front wing. Senna would come back to win the race, but he was disqualified for rejoining the circuit unsafely. This meant that Prost won the championship, but with a lot of controversy. 1990 would start with Senna winning in Phoenix, and then would win 4 more times that season, and Prost would win 5 times as well. Senna would often DNF, whilst Prost would often finish outside the podium positions. This meant that Senna would have a 9-point advantage heading into the penultimate race in Japan. If Prost wanted to win the championship, Senna could not outscore him, because drop scores meant that Prost was 11 points behind Senna, and the race win would give 9 points. Senna got pole, but was not happy because the dirty side of the grid was where pole was, so Senna was already annoyed, and after the year prior, was ready to do everything after he felt Prost turned in, although I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. Heading into the race, Senna was already annoyed, and as the lights went out, Prost took the lead into turn 1. Senna would hit the rear of Prost's car, sending both of them into the gravel and causing both to retire, a scene that is famous in F1 history and immortalised in the words of the late great Murray Walker, as he exclaimed, "It's happened immediately, this is amazing." Senna won the title in 1990, and after that Ferrari was no longer a competitive force in 1991, and Prost took a sabbatical in 1992 before joining Williams in 1993, with a term in his contract that Senna could not join the team to partner Prost. This annoyed Senna, who labelled him a coward, but come the end of the year, Senna had stated that he had missed battling him after Prost retired a 4-time world champion after winning that year's championship. Prost later revealed that Senna was the first one to call him and would continue calling him throughout the winter to speak to him. After the death of Roland Ratzenberger at Imola in 1994, Senna would talk to Prost about driver safety and would re-establish a GPDA and agreed to speak to him just before the Monaco Grand Prix about driver safety, but the next day, Ayrton Senna would die at the San Marino Grand Prix. A rivalry that had started 5 years prior at the same track and had gone through many bitter spells had ended on terms that many would have never been able to do after their battles, and they had become the closest of friends. Overall, the story of Senna and Prost teach us ultimately that no matter how bad a relationship can get between 2 sportsperson or regular people, it can be recovered and it can still be extremely close afterwards. Thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and if not, please tell me how to improve in the comments below. Once again, thank you for watching and I'll see you later.